Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you how to create a CRUD functionality in Web API using stored procedures with MVC entity framework. And here we got our final output. Right now we got two records in our table. Let's add a new record. Create new. The employee name I'm adding Rani at gmail.com, and the location is Mumbai. Salary is 3,500. Create. And see here the new record Rani has been added successfully to our table. Let's check in our database also. The table let's execute the table. Execute. See here the Rani details has been added successfully. Now let's check the details. We got the Rani details. Let's edit the Rani. I'm changing the location from Mumbai to Delhi, and salary I'm changing to 3,700. Save. So here the Rani details has been updated. Before it was Mumbai, the location, now it's Delhi, and the salary also has been changed, 3,700. Before it was 3,500. Now let's delete the record. Delete. See, the Rani has been deleted successfully from the table. Let's check in the database. Right now in this table, the Rani details is showing. When I execute the table, see, the Rani has gone. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before writing the coding part in Web API, first we'll create a new table and store procedure in SQL Server Management Studio. I'm expanding the root folder as well as the databases. I want to create a table and store procedure in this CM database. So let's expand the CM database. In the tables folder, let's create the table. Now select the CM database, right click the mouse, new query. Let's create a table, create table, new emp reg is a table name. Let's add the column emp id, integer type, not null. I'm adding primary key, and the column is the identity, which is the auto generate column. The next column name is the emp name and varchar 150, email and varchar 150. The next column name is varchar 150. After adding the location, salary is the integer type. Just for the demo purpose, I have added only few columns. Let's create a table, execute, and here we got a message, command completed successfully. Let's check this new emp reg table. Let's browse the table, select the table name, right click the mouse. I'm select top 1000 rows. And here we got the results of the table. Right now this table contains 0 rows. Now the next step, we'll create a new store procedure in the same CM database. Come to the bottom. In the same database there is a folder called programmability. Expand that one, and there is a subfolder called stored procedures. Here we will create a new stored procedure. Let's expand the stored procedures. Right now in this stored procedures folder we have only one stored procedure. So let's create a new stored procedure. select the stored procedures folder, right click the mouse, new stored procedure, and here we got the default stored procedure code. What I'm doing, I'm selecting the code and I'm deleting that part. Let's create our stored procedure. Create procedure sp underscore CRUD emp, and the next we'll add the parameters at emp id, integer type, at emp name and varchar 150, at email and varchar 150, at location and varchar 150, and the last one is a salary, which is the integer type. Let's check in the table also again, location, salary. So after that, begin and now in this begin and end, I'm writing the code to insert, update, select and delete the records. First we'll insert the records. Before writing the insert statement, there is one more parameter variable I'm adding, at option and varchar 100, and this option parameter is helpful to select the CRUD functionality. If we want to insert the records, we'll select this option, delete or update the record. So let's write the insert statement. If at option is equals to, between single quotes I'm adding the insert begin and. Now between this begin and end, I'm writing the insert statement, insert into, the table name is new emp reg, copy that one, paste here. Let's add the column names, emp name, email, location and the salary. Values, at, I'm adding these parameters, emp name, at, email is capital, email, at, salary, at the location, this one is location, at location, at salary. Now after adding the insert statement, next if condition at option is equals to, I am updating the record, update begin end. Now between this begin and end, I am adding the code to update the record. Update, the table name is a new emp reg, set emp name is equals to at emp name, email is equals to at email, at location is equals to it's not at here, at location, and the last one is a salary is equals to at salary. Now now I'm adding the where condition, where emp id is equals to at emp id. This one also capital E. And the next option, at option is equals to delete if begin end, delete from, the table name is a new emp reg, where emp id is equals to at emp id. This is the delete statement. Now the next option, to select the record, to select the particular record, if at option is equals to, so is capital, between single quotes I am adding get id, get emp id, begin end. Now between this begin and end, select start from, the table name is a new emp reg, where emp id is equals to at emp id. And the last one, I want to display all the records, so simply I am adding the select statement, select star asterisk from, the table name is new emp reg. That's it. We have written the CRUD functionality in a single stored procedure, inserting, updating, deleting to get the particular employee ID, and the last condition is to fetch all the records from this table new emp reg. Let's execute the procedure, execute, and here we got a message command completed successfully. So let's check the stored procedure is created or not. Select the stored procedure, let's refresh the folder. See, here we got the sp_crud emp, the stored procedure is added successfully. Up to now we have just finished to create the table and stored procedure. Now the coding part in Web API. So let's open Visual Studio. For this video tutorial, I'm creating a new Web API application. Go to File, New Project, and from the Web Templates, I'm selecting ASP.NET Web Application, and the .NET Framework I'm using 4.6.1. The application name is CRUD Web API Stored Procedure MVC. Click OK. And from the ASP.NET Templates, I'm selecting the Web API. Click OK. And the project is created successfully. Let's close this default window. Open Solution Explorer. First, in this project, I am adding ADO.NET Entity Data Model. Right click the project name, add ADO.NET Entity Data Model. I am selecting that one. Let's add the item name. The item name is EMP. Click OK. And from the model contents, I'm selecting the first option, EF Designer from Database. Click Next. Let's create a new SQL Server connection. New connection. I'm adding my SQL Server name is a PC. After adding SQL Server name, now I'm selecting the database name. The table and stored procedure I have created in this CM database, so I'm selecting the CM database. Test connection is succeeded. OK. And here we got our connection string, and the connection string name is a CM entities, and I'm saving this connection string in the web.config file. Then click Next. Now it's time to select the table and the stored procedure of the selected database. I'm expanding the tables folder as well as DBO. The table name is the new EMP reg. I'm selecting that one. Then come to the bottom, there is a stored procedures and functions folder. Expand that one as well as the DBO. Our stored procedure name is sp_crud emp. Let's select that one. Click Finish. And here the entity model is added to our project. And if you notice in the model browser, the stored procedure functions, expand that one, the stored procedure name and the table both are added to this model browser. Let's open Solution Explorer again, minimize the references folder. After adding the entity model with the table and store procedures. Next, we'll create a new class in this models folder. Select the models folder or right click the mouse, add class, and the class name I'm giving EMP class, add. And here we got our EMP class, and this EMP class I'm just defining the public properties. Public int EMP ID get and set properties. In our table we have 1 2 3 4 5 columns: EMP name, email, location and salary. Let's add public string EMP name get set, public string email get set, public string location get set, public string, last one is the integer type, which is a salary, get set. So after adding the properties to this EMP class, next open Solution Explorer. We'll add a new Web API controller in this controllers folder. Select the controllers folder, right click the mouse, add controller. I'm selecting Web API 2 controller empty, add. The controller name is EMP CRUD. Is the Web API controller name, add. And here we got our API controller. First in this API controller I'm adding the namespace using the project name is CRUD Web API dot models folder. After that, in the API controller I'm creating the public HTTP action result get EMP. The first function, I want to display all the records from the table. So above the action result I'm creating an object for my connection string entity. CM entities is my connection string name. CM is equals to, CM is the object, and new CM entities. Now here in this action result I'm creating a variable results is equals to CM dot, I'm adding my store procedure name, which is a new EMP, is a table name. Sorry, the store procedure name is sp underscore CRUD EMP. I'm adding the store procedure name, and notice here it takes the parameters, the employee ID, EMP name, email, location, salary and option. So first one is a 0 and the second one is the EMP name. So what I'm doing, EMP name and salary, comma, and the last parameter is a string option. So string is double quotes and this one is an integer type, so we don't require double quotes here. And the last one is a string operation. So I'm adding the string operation is get dot toList method. This one is a string, so I don't require, is a 0. then return OK method. In this OK method I'm adding the results, semicolon. That's it. In this action result get EMP, I'm fetching the records from the table using store procedure. Now let's check the results. First, Google Chrome. And here we got the default output of the project, which is the home page. Now we require the web API URL. So after the domain name, I am adding API / our web API name is EMP CRUD. Copy that one. I'm pasting here. Enter. And here we got the results of this web API URL. Right now it's showing empty rows because we don't have any records in the table. So let's add some record. The first record, go to table, select the new EMP res, right click the mouse, edit top 200 rows, select that one. Let's add some record. The EMP ID is the column, auto-generate column, so I'm not adding any value here. The employee name is Charan. The email is charan@gmail.com. Location India, and the salary is 6,500. Tab. Now we have added one record Charan. So let's execute this one. Switch to the browser. Let's browse this web API URL. See, now here we got the new results. The Charan details is showing from the database. Now my next step is, let's consume this web API into MVC to display records in a table. Switch to the Visual Studio, stop debugging. Open Solution Explorer. Now in the same controllers folder, I am adding a new controller, which is the MVC controller. Right click the controllers folder, add controller. Now this time I am selecting MVC file controller empty, add. The controller name is EMP, is my controller name, MVC controller name, add. And here we got our MVC controller, EMP controller. And now let's add the namespaces using the project name .models folder. Then the next namespace, I'm using HTTP client namespace to consume the web API. So for that I'm adding the new namespace using system.net.http namespace. After that, in the action result index, I'm adding enumerable. The out T type, we're getting the results from the table, so I'm adding the new EMP res is a table name, EMP object is equals to now. Then HTTP client class, I'm adding HC is an object, new HTTP client, HC dot base address is equals to new URI. This URI method takes the string parameter. In this string I'm adding the web API URL. Copy the URL and paste here. Then base address, let's consume that address. Variable consume API is equals to HC dot get async method, and this get async method takes this EMP CRUD web controller name semicolon consume API dot wait method. After we consume the data, then we read the data. We read that data is equals to consume API dot result property. If read data dot is success status code. If the data is read successfully from the database, I want to display the data on the browser. So again I am declaring a new variable to display data is equals to read data dot content dot read as async. In this async, the t type I am adding the iList. In this iList I am adding the type of elements we are getting from the table, this new emp reg. Display data dot wait method. First I'm adding the data to this object, enumerable object, emp object is equals to display data dot result semicolon, then the result view emp object. That's it. We have consumed the web API to display the records. Now we require the index view page to display the data. So before adding the index view page to the project, we must build the application first. Build solution, and the project builds successfully. Let's close this output message box. Now create a new index view page. Select the index method, right click the mouse, add view. The view name is index. The template I'm selecting the list template. After selecting the list template, now the model class I'm adding the EMP, my table name new EMP reg, and the data context class same entities. After that, click add, and here we got our index view page. Now before run this application, the most important, we must change the controller name. To change the controller name, open Solution Explorer. In the project there is a app_start folder, expand that one, route config.cs file, open that one, and notice here the controller is the home, which is a default one. Let's delete that one. Our controller name is a EMP controller. This is the EMP controller. I'm adding MVC controller name, which is a EMP, and the action result is an index view page, which is S1. That's it. Now let's check our first results to display the records from the database, Google Chrome. And here we got the results of this index view page. Notice the Charan record is showing in the index view page. This is a web API. Right now in our table we have only one record, Charan, and that Charan record we have consumed this web API into this MVC. Now my next target is, let's insert new records. When I click create new, I want to get a create template to insert a new record into the database table. So let's open Visual Studio, stop debugging, switch to the EMP CRUD controller, which is the API controller. I am adding new action result, public IHTTP action result, insert EMP. Now in this insert EMP method, I'm adding our table name is a new EMP reg. EMP insert is an object, variable insert results is equals to cm dot our store procedure name The store procedure name, first one is a emp id 0. The string, the second parameter is the emp name, so emp insert dot emp name comma emp insert dot, the second one is the email emp insert dot location, and the last one emp insert dot salary comma. Now let's add the option. To insert option, switch to the database, open store procedure. In the store procedure, you have to add this option insert. Copy that one, paste here, return okay insert results semicolon. Here I need to add the toList method. Now let's consume this action result insert emp method in MVC. Open MVC controller, public action result create, and this create method is http get return view copy this one, and the second action result again the create method, and this one is we are posting the data, so I'm adding http post method. Now in this action result create, I'm adding a table name new emp reg, new emp insert is an object name, http client etc is equals to new http client etc dot base address is equals to new URI between double quotes. I'm adding this web API URL. Let's copy this one, paste here, semicolon. After we got the base address, let's insert the record. Insert record is equals to etc.get post as async dot post as JSON async, and this parameter takes two parameters, and post as JSON async the t type. Here the t type I'm getting this from this table new emp reg. Make sure don't give any gaps here. And the method takes two parameters, the request URI. The request URI is this one, the controller name, delete one, I don't require there, it's a string, so we need to add between double quotes, comma, and the new emp reg value. The value we are getting from this new emp insert. Copy this one and paste here, semicolon. Insert record dot wait method. Once we insert record, we have to save that record. So variable save data is equals to insert record dot result if save data dot is success status code. If the record is saved successfully, return redirect to action method. The action name I want to return to the index view page. This view page, after we successfully add the record, I want to redirect to this index view page from the create controller, from the create view page. And the return view, this one is a create. That's it, we have consumed the web API to insert records. Now we require this view page for this create action result method. Again, we must build the application first before adding the view pages. And the project built successfully. Let's close this default window. Now highlight the create action result method, right click the mouse, add view. The view name is create. The template, I'm selecting create template. The model class, let's add the table name, new emp reg, and the data context are CM entities. Add. And here we got our create view page. Now let's run this application. Index.cshtml, Google Chrome. And here we got our new results after we adding the create view page. Right now we have only one record. Let's enter new record, create new. See, here we are redirect to the create view page. Before, it's showing error because that time we don't have any view page of the create. Now let's enter the employee name, Ben at gmail.com. Location is Australia, and the salary is 5,000. Create. See, here the Ben record is added successfully. Now let's check in the database. The table, this is the table, execute. So now we got two records showing Charan and Ben. The Ben record we have just added. Now we require the edit details and delete. Now let's add the details functionality first. Stop debugging. Switch to the Web API controller. Let's add a new action result. Public HTTP action result. Get emp ID. To get the employer results, particular employee record, we require the emp ID. So I am adding the int ID, declaring a variable emp details is equals to cm dot. I'm adding the stored procedure. This stored procedure takes the parameters. The first one int emp ID. So I'm adding the int value, which is the employee ID we are getting from this ID, comma, and the second parameter is the string name. The string name with the empty, and the salary is 0, comma, and the last option is a string. Now between double quotes I'm adding the option from the stored procedure get emp ID, which retrieves the selected employee details. So let's add and paste here. Dot select x new. I'm adding employee class. Let's call the properties from this employee emp class. Emp ID is equals to x dot emp ID, comma, emp name is equals to x dot emp name, comma, email is equals to x dot email, comma, location is equals to x dot location, comma, and the last one is a salary is equals to x dot salary. And notice here we got a small error, cannot implicitly convert type into int, so we need to add convert dot to int 32 dot first or default The T source is a EMP class, semicolon, and the return OK method. In the return OK method, I am adding EMP details. That's it. We have written the code in this web API to get the particular employee record based on the employee ID. Now let's consume this web API method into MVC. Let's open MVC controller. I'm adding new action result, public action result details. In these details I'm adding the int ID. Now here HTTP, first I'm adding EMP class. Let's create an object. EMP object is equals to null. Then HTTP client class, let's create an object hc new HTTP client. hc.base address is equals to new URI method. The URI method takes a string parameters. So let's add our API, this one, copy this one and paste here. After we got the base address, next declare a variable to consume the API is equals to hc.getAsync. The getAsync method between double quotes the request URI. The request URI I'm adding EMP CRUD, so we don't require here /EMP CRUD question mark ID is equals to, here I don't need this EMP CRUD, class ID this variable dot toString. We are passing the variable from this ID, the employee ID. Then consume API dot wait method. After consume, we read the data. Variable read data is equals to consume API dot result property. If read data dot is success status code, once the selected employee ID is found, I want to display that employee details. For that I am declaring another variable, display EMP details is equals to read data dot content dot read as async. In this async, the T type I am adding EMP class. Then display EMP details dot result property, wait property, dot wait method. And the last final step, EMP object, this EMP class object is equals to display EMP details dot result, and the return view I'm adding EMP object. That's it. We have consumed the web API to search the particular employee details. Now we require the action view for this details page. So before adding the view page for these details, let's build the application first. Build, and the project builds successfully. Let's close this output message box. Select the details action result method, right click the mouse, add view, the view name is details. The template, I'm selecting the details template. After that, the model class, our class name, this time I'm adding the EMP class. So we are updating the new record from this EMP class, and I don't require this data context. Yeah. Click OK. and here we got our details view page. Now let's check the results. Switch to the index.cshtml, Google Chrome. Now let's check the particular employee details. I'm checking the details of the Ben. See, here we got the Ben details. Back to list. Now Charan details. Here we got Charan. Back to list. Now the leftover is the edit and delete. Let's do those ones also. Stop debugging. Switch to the Web API controller. To update the record, we have to use a put method. So public HTTP action result, I am adding put now in this put method. Let's put emp class is an option. Let's declare the variable update emp record is equals to cm, which is a connection string object. I'm adding my store procedure name as speaker. Now let's add the parameters. ec dot emp id, comma, ec dot emp name, comma, ec dot, and the next one is a email, ec dot location, comma, ec dot salary, comma. Now the string operation, the last parameter, to update the record, switch to the store procedure. The option I'm adding update. So update here dot to list method, and the return OK method. In the return OK, I'm adding update emp record. That's it. We have added the update functionality in this HTTP action put web API method. Now let's consume this put method in MVC. In this MVC controller, I am adding two action results. First one is to get the employee details of the particular employee. After that, we'll update that employee details. So public action result. The action result I'm adding edit, and the edit I'm adding integer id, and this action result is HTTP get method. So instead of writing the same code, I'm just copy this one, paste here. So first we'll get the particular employee details, then we'll update the record. So to update the record, we need the new action result for HTTP post. Action result edit HTTP post. Now in this edit, I'm adding a class name emp class, EC is an object, HTTP client HC is equals to new HTTP client, hc.base address is equals to new URI. Between double quotes, I'm adding the URI method. Just copy this one. I require the whole web API. Paste here. After we got the base address, Now we we update the record. Update record is equals to etc dot put as JSON async method. I'm adding put as JSON async. The T type I'm adding EMP class. The methods, the request URI is this one EMP CRUD. Between double quotes I'm adding CRUD, comma the EMP class value, which is this one, this variable. We are updating the new values from this object. Update record.wait method. After we update the record, we save the details. Save data is equals to update record dot result property. If save data dot is success status code, if the record is saved successfully, if the record is updated successfully, then return redirect to action. Between double quotes I'm adding index. Return view method. In this view method I'm adding this object EC. That's it. We have added the edit functionality also. One for the HTTP get to get the particular employee record, then we'll update the record. Let's add the delete functionality also. Again switch to the web API controller, public HTTP action result, delete. The delete we require the employee ID, so I'm adding the int ID. So to delete the record, I'm adding variable delete emp is equals to cm.sp underscore my store procedure name ID. First we'll get the ID of the particular employee, and then let's add the email, location, salary, then the string operation for the delete. String option is a delete. Copy that one, paste here. Dot select x new emp class method. Let's get the properties. Emp id is equals to x dot emp id, comma ename emp name is equals to x dot emp name, comma email is equals to x dot email, comma location is equals to x dot location, comma salary is equals to x dot salary. And this is a integer type, so we need to convert to int 32, then dot to dot first or default method. In this first or default method I'm adding the emp class. So once we get the particular employee details, so once we delete the record, we need to change cm.save changes method, a return OK method. That's it. We have added the delete functionality in this web API. Let's consume this web API in MVC. After the edit, I'm adding public action result delete int id. Let's call the web API in this delete method, and HTTP client class is equals to new HTTP client, hc.base address is equals to new URI method. Between double quotes I'm adding the URI, copy this one and paste here. After that, variable delete record is equals to etc dot delete async method. The delete async method, the request URI between double quotes, the web API name / plus id.toString method. Delete record dot wait method. Once we delete the record, we'll save the data. Save the data is equals to delete dot result property. If save data dot is success status code. Once the record has been deleted, I want to redirect the view page. So return redirect to action between double quotes. This redirect to action takes the action name, the string. So between double quotes, I'm adding the action name is the index view page name, and the return view also I'm adding index. That's it. We have done the complete coding part. Now we require this edit view page. So before that, we have to build a solution, and here the project has built successfully. Let's close this output message box. Select the action result edit method, right click the mouse, add view. The view name is edit, and the template, I'm adding the edit template. The model class, which is the EMP class, I don't require this data context class. Add. And here we got our edit view page. Now we require the delete page. I'm not adding the delete page. Now let's check the final output. Index.cshtml. And one more thing is, if we go to edit, come to the bottom, not the edit, the details, come to the bottom, see the edit, this one model dot emp id. That's it. Now let's go switch to the index.cshtml, Google Chrome. And here we got our final output. Right now we got 2 records in our table. Let's add a new record. Create new. The employee name I'm adding Rani at gmail.com, and the location is Mumbai. Salary is 3,500. Create. And see here the new record Rani has been added successfully to our table. Let's check in our database also. The table let's execute the table. Execute. See here the Rani details has been added successfully. Now let's check the details. We got the Rani details. Let's edit the Rani. I'm changing the location from Mumbai to Delhi, and salary I'm changing to 3,700. Save. So here the Rani details has been updated. Before it was Mumbai, the location, now it's Delhi, and the salary also has been changed, 3,700. Before it was 3,500. Now let's delete the record. Delete. See, the Rani has been deleted successfully from the table. Let's check in the database. Right now in this table, the Rani details is showing. When I execute the table, see, the Rani has gone. That's it. I have implemented the CRUD functionality in Web API using stored procedures. That's it.